Well, it's official. Wild card rounds officially in the rear view mirror and right on cue. Kind of appropriate the way this game had played out on a 3rd and 12. Aaron Rodgers gets crushed. Will Anderson knocks out the ball. Sheldon Rankins picks it up, and the big fella off to the races. No one catching him. 3rd career touchdown. That made it 17-6. And we got a little bit more defensive scoring as Houston scores a victory. And with that, we welcome you inside our NFL Network studios. It is game day final. My good friend Steve Mariucci, Mike Am with you. The Texans get their first road playoff win. And you know what that means, Coach?
What does it mean?
They get a date with the Patriots on Sunday. Looking forward to that matchup as well. That'll be played at 3 Eastern time. But back and forth here, and more on the back and forth on the defensive side of things, which we will unpack. But let's keep in mind here, this is how it's going to lay out for all those fans. We got the #1 seeds. We get to see them in action. Bills and Broncos. We got that at 4:30 on CBS. On Saturday, we got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seahawks. That's the night game at 8 Eastern time over on Fox. Meanwhile, as I made reference to, 3 Eastern time, Texans and Patriots. And then a little bit later on Sunday on NBC, we got the Rams and the Chicago Bears. So there is still a ton of dramatic football to be played here. Defensive battle. I don't know how else to describe it. And I know you see the 30 points from a Houston perspective, 14 of them coming from the defensive side.
Finally, we had a game in the playoffs that was lopsided.
Yeah.
It's unusual for this year. And defense. If that saying that defense wins championships, well, they've made a good case for that, and Aaron Rodgers can vouch for that. But Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. came in as the 2 bookends that gave pressure to quarterbacks, and they didn't disappoint because 5 more sacks, and a lot of their sacks, I mean, they came from outside edge pressure with Anderson and Hunter, but their inside defensive tackles push the pocket. There's no place to step up, and Aaron Rodgers had a tough day at the office. You can see there's no place to climb the pocket. He's running for his life right here when he can get out of there, but this defense, and the Steelers, or the Texans turned the ball over 3 times, and only 3, the Texas defense only allowed 3 points off those turnovers. So they saved the day on so many levels. If they got any help from the offense, this could have been a real blowout.
Coach, it's wild because this is the 3rd time in CJ Stroud's career. He's got 3 turnovers in a game, and his team has won each one of those. I mean, if you're a football fan in general, you hear numbers like that. Like, that's not supposed to happen, and yet the reality is this defense bailed him out numerous times as you watch this thing unfold. You know, in the second half here, early 3rd quarter, I'm saying to you, I said, Coach, you're coaching a game like this where candidly, no one could seem to move the ball effectively on the offensive side.
It was 7-6 for a long time, and we were hoping it wouldn't end that way because of that 6-7 thing. Okay, but
I said you got a grandkid who could explain to us.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, CJ had a tough day at the office too. He lost a couple of fumbles and fumbled more than that. Fumbled 4 times and lost 2, and then threw the pick, and he just kept getting bailed out by this defense. Not only are they a good team rushing the passer, but they stopped the run. They held Pittsburgh to 63 yards rushing. They're just solid all the way around. D'Amico Ryans has done a great job with this football team.
Week 18, final game of the regular season. I saw Aaron Rodgers without DK Metcalf look like the old Aaron Rodgers, right? He threw for 294. It was one of his better games offensively. In this one, you can see the numbers there. It throws for $146. Now, granted, this is arguably the best defense in the NFL. Statistically, that is the case from a Texans perspective. What was remarkable to me, you think about legacy. A couple of years from now, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. But in this game specifically, what went wrong for Rodgers?
Well, first of all, protection. He never seemed comfortable in the pocket. They started off throwing the ball quickly and run the ball. That's the way you protect a quarterback, throw it quickly. But this defense was so good on 1st and 2nd down that the Steelers had too many 3rd and longs where you have to go back 7 steps in the pocket, and that's dangerous. They were 2 out of 14 on 3rd downs because a lot of those 3rd downs were long yardage, and there's just, you have to get rid of it because here they come. And they didn't have to blitz much. They pressure with 4 guys, and they make a habit of it. So this defense is one of those defenses where you say, hey, they're not going to try try to blitz like the Minnesota Vikings and show you all these crazy looks. They're gonna rush the passer with 4 guys and play coverage with 7, and they're just terrific at it.
408 total yards of offense for Houston, $175 from a Pittsburgh perspective. Coming up here on NFL Network, we will hear from Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, both of those guys, as we get you those press conferences. DK Metcalf, you and I got to do the pregame show. 5 targets, 2 catches for him in this game. We felt like this might be a boost offensively.
They started off throwing him the ball.
He did. Then
he dropped one. Then he disappeared. And whether it's circumstantial or whatever, but we expected more out of DK. And this was probably second play of the game where they threw a little quick screen out here as an RPO and threw it out there and let him run a little bit. But after that, and I like the fact that they tried to get Aaron Rodgers out of the pocket, because this is one of the few plays that we had somebody wide open, because coverage was usually so tight on these guys. And then there's the drop, and then all of a sudden you just didn't see a lot of throws at DK for whatever the reason in this game.
Yeah, you know,
get 2 receptions for 42 yards. That's it. Well,
and yet offensively, in the last couple of weeks here, and really for a good stretch of the season, it's been the running backs that have carried the load. Like we always talk about Aaron Rodgers, typically we'll shine a light on the quarterbacks, and yet even in this game, the run game was almost non-existent.
Yeah, Gainwell and Jalen Warren, you know, they just got stuffed. This front over there for the Texans, pretty darn good.
It's 63 rushing yards in the
63 rushing yards, and you'll see this. I mean, they had some tackles for losses, and they had some good support from the secondary. They come up quickly. This is a good tackling team. Not every team tackles well in space. This team does, and they're very aggressive. Look at they swarm to the ball. They hustle like crazy. I love their motors. Look at how many people are getting to the ball right here. This is impressive.
You know, as we're watching the coverage in this thing, and I circle back, and I have these images now of Aaron Rodgers, and I asked you what went wrong in this game. You tell me what's next for him.
Whoa, what's next for Aaron Rodgers? We talked about this on game day morning, and I said, I think Aaron's watching the show, so it's Aaron, you got to ask yourself this. I said, hey, are you having fun? And every time, and the camera's always on his face.
Totally.
He doesn't look like he's having fun to me. Does it look like that to you?
How many times do they flash during the broadcast, Coach, and there's almost like an anger that's out there, a disappointment.
Yeah, but I don't know if guys are running the wrong routes or cutting things short, or he doesn't like the call or whatever that is. It just doesn't look like he's enjoying himself at age 42. The other thing is he healthy? You know, physically and mentally. Does he feel like he can go do this again? It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
so I don't know the answer to that. The other thing is, if he comes back, I think it's got to be with Pittsburgh, right? It's not going to learn a new offense or go with a new play caller somewhere else and relocate, try it over again at age 43. So I don't know if that's going to happen. He'll make that call with the Steeler organization, you know, I know he has a great relationship with Mike Tomlin, but we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, the reports right now indicate that if there is an appetite for another season for Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers would be open to bringing him back. Meanwhile, you mentioned Mike Tomlin addressing the media right now in Pittsburgh. We bring it to you here.